Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister and refusing to send her money even though she had good intentions? My wife Belle and I have a beautiful, almost 3-year-old daughter. Though her arrival was unexpected, I'm so thankful for her. My sister Cindy has never been fond of Belle. Her irrational dislike of my wife has only exacerbated when she announced that she was pregnant. Belle was never good enough. Belle was irresponsible and obsessed with herself for working out during her pregnancy. She's a terrible mother for not quitting her job the moment she found out she was pregnant, etc. I've shut all of it down over the years, and I've got contact with her significantly. One thing my wife and I agreed to not do is talk to our daughter with that high-pitched baby voice many people use to talk to children. We talk to her as if she was a normal human being. We don't talk to her with that goo-goo-gaga voice. We never have and never will. We also let our daughter, to a reasonable extent, pick her own clothes. And since she's at the stage where she wants to be independent, we will try to encourage that as much as possible. My wife is half Korean and half Ethiopian, so often she will mix a few non-English words when she's talking to our daughter. Unfortunately, Cindy can't make rent and has been living with us for the past 2 weeks. Belle's idea: I wouldn't have let her stay in my house because of her continued disrespect of my wife. Cindy was, surprisingly, very kind towards my wife. It was very nice to see Cindy's change of heart, until she wasn't. Cindy started to make a big fuss about how my wife was talking to our daughter as if she was an adult, and how Belle was a cruel parent for teaching our daughter how to use chopsticks so young, the Edison chopsticks meant for children. My daughter was helping my wife cook. My wife let her hold the pot while she was draining the rice water, and my sister called my mom. She began to make threats of calling child services as my wife was a horrific child abuser. My mom, who hasn't seen my daughter in a year, got upset. I tried to get my sister to talk, but she was unwilling, so I kicked her out. Now the whole family is mad at us, claiming that Cindy had good intentions and that we should let her back. My wife is feeling very guilty with everything and wants to send my sister some money. Edit: a few people have had concerns over whether my daughter's hands were touching a hot pot. No, they were rinsing the rice before they cooked it, so the pot nor the water was hot. Now for the top comments. Not Dayhall. Your wife is a wonderful woman with a kind and forgiving heart. But Cindy, despite being given second chances, has flown her true colors without remorse. She's set in her ways/opinions and won't change. Perhaps the whole family can house Cindy rather than you and your family, since they seem so sympathetic to her. You and your wife did your part and made a solid effort to make it work. You don't owe Cindy anything. Cindy should focus her attention on self-sufficiency rather than how you and your wife raise your child. Which, by the way, how awesome your daughter is using chopsticks, learning second languages and cooking. She's got more life skills at the age of 3 than Cindy from the sounds of things. My wife has so much patience. It's insane how she kept up with this. There's probably so much that has happened while I was at work that my wife isn't telling me. Please, please, please do not send Cindy money. That will just assure her that she can say and do whatever she wants with no consequences. Your sister is a racist, let's be real. And sexist by expecting pregnant women to quit their jobs. And uneducated for expecting them to stop exercising. Well, there is a point at which certain exercise is bad. Consult your doctor, everybody's different. For most of the pregnancy, exercise is good. It helps your body stay healthy. And fun fact, endorphins are awesome. Say 10 over 10 fetuses, they love them. Not Dayhall. Your sister needs to learn boundaries. It's none of her business how you guys parent your kid unless there is mistreatment involved, which there isn't. Your daughter literally held a pot. There is no good intention in making child services threats on a loving mother. Thank you for stepping up for your wife. You'd be surprised of how many people don't stick up for their significant other. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister out after finding her in mine in my husband's bedroom? I, female 26, lost my husband in an accident 2 months ago. It wasn't his fault. He wasn't even driving. He was going with a friend to visit their sick friend, and the journey was hours long. My husband's friend was driving late at night, and it resulted in a horrific accident. My husband was in the hospital for a week severely injured and passed away on Friday morning. I was an utter mess. I was and still am devastated and cannot believe how fast days go by. My parents support me a lot. I was spending my days alone at my apartment. My parents told me they sent my sister, female 21, to stay with me and help around the apartment. I welcomed her and was glad she came. She'd occasionally invite her boyfriend to my apartment since she's there all the time. Her boyfriend started acting like it's their place by moving stuff, throwing away stuff. I talked to them about it. I also said I wouldn't let him stay the night anymore because I need some calm and quiet to be able to sleep. It usually stays up till 5 a.m. making noise. My sister didn't argue. However, yesterday I went to see a friend for a few hours, and when I got back, I didn't find my sister, thinking she went out. Suddenly, her boyfriend walks out of my bedroom, and I freaked out asking why he was there. My sister showed up asking why I got home so early. I loudly asked them why they were in mine and my husband's bedroom. Suddenly, my sister said they borrowed it for an hour to get some privacy, since I had a key and might have walked in and saw something. My apartment is a single-bedroom apartment. I was in shock. I checked the room and the bed looked like someone used it. I completely lost my temper yelling at her and her boyfriend. I kicked him out and me and my sister started arguing. She called me irrational, acting out of grief and taking my frustrations out on her. I told her to leave if she wasn't willing to respect mine and my husband's private place, and that she should have never walked in it. After that, I kicked her out. My mom came to see what was going on. She defended my sister and blamed her boyfriend, saying I had every right to kick him out, but my sister took the time and came to stay with me to support and help, and I was wrong to treat her like this, saying that's how kids are, and didn't know that it upset me this much. My dad agreed I overreacted and wanted me to talk things out with her, but I refused to do it. Not Dayhall. Oh my god, your sister and her boyfriend were having intercourse in the bed you shared with your recently deceased husband. There comes a point where help becomes a hindrance. Your sister has passed that point. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you. And you're right. I just never thought she'd do anything like that. To be honest, my mom said it was her boyfriend's suggestion after she talked to my sister about it. Either way, this is not acceptable to me. I appreciate the help and support, but the bedroom was a mess. The bed was a mess. I haven't washed the sheets ever since my husband's passing. They used to help me sleep at night because the smell was on them. It was incredibly noticeable. I can't explain it, but it definitely made me feel like he was there. But now I can't even look at the bed because of how angry I am. I doubt I'll be seeing my sister anytime soon after this. I'm so sorry. I would not find this forgivable either, if it were me. It's just so violating. Even without your recent trauma, it's gross and violating. Not Dayhall. Jesus. Opie, I am so sorry for your loss. Your sister has a complete and utter lack of sympathy and self-awareness, especially with a loss so recent. Being kind doesn't give you a free pass to being kind. That's not how it works. That's how kids are. No, they're not. And your sister's 21 years old, not a child. I wish you all the best and hope you have a support structure outside of your family. Even if she didn't have recent loss, it's still not okay to just go do it in someone's bed. Not Dayhall. Not Dayhall. This is the kind of help we all can do without. It makes me sick, just thinking about what they did. How inhuman, entitled, and out of touch do you have to be to do it in a grieving widow's bed? I couldn't bear to look at the people again if it were me. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for this. I'm so sorry for your loss. You deserve peace and quiet right now. Take it and block the sources of stress. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my grandparents I don't give a crap about what they want? My dad cheated on my mom with my aunt/mom's sister, and now they're married. It's been 2 years since the world crashed around my family. My mom and dad had been married for 20 years. I was in my final year of high school and had all that to deal with. My cousin Jay really struggled a lot with it. It was always just him and his mom. And no, he's not my half-sibling. And yes, I know for certain because he's biracial. And he was very close to my mom and our family. And now, while nothing has changed between him and my mom, the people he had in our family around him his whole life are never going to be in the same room again. I cut my dad and aunt off after the whole thing came out. They resisted and really tried to make the argument that they had done nothing to me. But what they did disgusts me, and I think they are both nasty people. My grandparents, dads, have not accepted that I am now estranged from their son. They have tried to push me to have a relationship with him again for almost a year now. I ignored mostly. I have told them no as clear as possible, and after that I just avoid or sidestep the conversation. This past weekend was my grandma's birthday, and while I dropped off a gift to her, they really laid on a guilt trip about not talking to my dad, and how it hurt their feelings, and they would be happy if I could forgive him and move forward as a family, etc. I told them my feelings had not changed. They told me to consider putting their feelings first, since they love us all, and they want their family back. I told them I didn't give a crap about their feelings or what they want. Their son is the reason all this happened, so they should be giving him crap for how this all worked out. They told me I was rude and disrespectful and plain mean to them, and it wasn't their fault what happened, and I should be more considerate of them. I feel like they pushed way too many lines and deserve to be told the truth. But do you all think I was an a-hole for what I said? Now for the top comments. Not a-hole. Why are their feelings more important than yours? When people push you, you reach a certain point where you have to say no more. You may have been harsh, but that's okay. Perhaps next time, if there is one, I hope you should ask them that. I suspect they'd have difficulty answering. I bet that they wouldn't have difficulty answering though. They will most likely pull the "we are your grandparents, so you should respect us and do things we want" card. Not a-hole. If they want their family back, they should ask their son why the family is gone. Imagine blaming the kid for their completely justified reaction to the bomb a parent exploded within their life. A great reminder that people of all ages can suck donkey. Not a-hole. They weren't listening and would have and possibly still will try again. Your feelings are valid and they can try and push what happened aside. I hope things get better for you. Not a-hole. They're correct. It wasn't their fault, but it's also not your fault. However, they are trying to make you responsible for fixing things right in order to make them happy, while dismissing your feelings. You told them multiple times, in no uncertain terms, how you felt, but they continued to push until you felt you had no choice but to be very blunt with them. You have done nothing wrong. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Good luck. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for moving out and not wanting to be a third parent / babysitter? For context, I'm 20 female. I'm due to finish my last year of uni in June. I have been doing classes and everything online since I moved back into my parents in April 2020. It's honestly been mentally and physically draining since my sister, 16 female, was diagnosed with a minor mental health disorder last year, and my conservative Asian parents have been freaking out. And instead of really helping her, they've been allowing her to do anything and everything. Because their logic is that if she only does things she wants is equal to she's cured. Don't worry, she has counseling and government-funded therapy. This is resulting into my sister never going to school and only playing video games in her room with food being brought up to her 3 times a day. And even if she swears and talks back to them, they just brush it off and condone everything that she does. As I am constantly home for classes and currently stressed out by finals, I am still expected to do most of the chores as well as taking care of a new puppy who needs constant attention. On top of this, my parents expect me to constantly check up on my sister, expecting me to drop everything whenever she needs something, whether this be something minor like a glass of water. And if I don't, they give me lectures on how my sister is the closest family I'll have after they're gone, and how awful of a sister I am. So I am unable to do any work, nor focus, as I am basically a live-in on-call 24/7 maid. I suppose my parents thought when I moved back in due to the pandemic it was for good, but I am planning on moving out as soon as my exams are over, which they think is very selfish of me, as they will now be stuck with a lot of duties, and how I'm abandoning family. I plan to do further study, and I really want my independence and sanity back. Not sure if relevant, but when I was around my sister's age, I approached my parents about my mental health issues, and they basically told me to get over it. But I was fortunate to use my uni's therapy services to get by. Hence, I'm wondering whether I am an a-hole for moving out and possibly holding a grudge for how they treated me, instead of sucking it up and try to be more understandable about my sister's situation and my parents' inability to cope. Thanks. Not a-hole. Get out of that house. She's not your responsibility. Don't hold a grudge for your sake, but don't forget about how they treated you either. Not Dayhal. By making your sister dependent, they are likely making her mental illness significantly worse. Maybe when you move out and they actually have to do all the work, they'll start to actually help your sister live a functional life. Moving out might not just be good for you, it could be good for your sister. Not Dayhal. This dynamic is extremely unhealthy, and your parents are guilting you most likely as a tactic to maintain the parentified role they've given you. Your sister is plenty old enough to know what is healthy and productive in her life, but enjoys reaping the benefits of your parents' misunderstanding of her mental health issues and how to support her. You cannot solve these issues for her, and it's not your job to do so. Do not let your parents push the guilt of their failure onto you. They already have a pattern of favoritism toward your sister, and they clearly are not looking out for your best interests. Graduate and get out of there ASAP. You deserve your own freedom and autonomy. Edit. Thank you to everybody telling me I am not Nehal. I realize it's not my responsibility to take care of everything. My mom impulsively borrowed money behind my dad's back and decided to do a full-time online degree whilst working full-time. Meanwhile, my dad impulsively adopted a dog. I guess I just needed a little reassurance, as I do feel a bit guilty/ahal, considering it's normal for Asian children to move out only when they get married. But no worries, I'll be moving out in 41 days. Hopefully this will benefit my sister a little and help her take on some more responsibility and have a reality check.